My friend, I want you to pause for just a moment and imagine this truth. You were not born to drift through life as a victim of chance. You were born with the power to shape your destiny. The secret is already within you. But whether it lifts you to greatness or pulls you into defeat depends entirely on one thing: your mental attitude. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you may be the turning point of your entire life. For decades I searched, studied, and interviewed the most successful men and women of our age. From Henry Ford to Thomas Edison, from Andrew Carnegie to the great leaders of industry, each revealed to me the hidden code of success. And after years of research, I discovered that there are exactly 17 principles that unlock achievement. But here is the golden key. Those principles will only work if you possess a positive mental attitude. Think about that for a moment, because this could change everything for you. Without PMA, every other principle becomes useless. With PMA, even the smallest effort can grow into extraordinary success. PMA is the invisible catalyst. It is the spark that turns a mere idea into a fortune, a dream into a reality, and a failure into a stepping stone. And let me ask you, don't you want to unlock the greatness that's been waiting inside you all along? Consider the opposite. A negative mental attitude, what I call NMA, will take the same principles of success and twist them into instruments of misery. With NMA, ambition becomes greed. With NMA, persistence becomes stubborn destruction. With NMA, teamwork becomes conspiracy. And where does it all lead? To crime, to despair, to tragedy. But you, yes, you, have the power to choose. Right now, you are holding the steering wheel of your destiny. Every thought is a turn. Every decision is a direction. And PMA is the compass that will never fail you. Imagine this. You're standing before two doors. Behind the first is a future filled with limitation, excuses, and wasted potential. Behind the second is a life of abundance, joy, health, and contribution. Which door will you walk through? Now lean in, because here's the truth most people never realize. Your world changes the moment you change yourself. I'll tell you a story that proves it. There was a preacher, burdened by the noise of his restless son, as he tried to prepare a sermon. Out of desperation, he tore a picture of the world from a magazine, cut it into small pieces, and handed it to the boy as a puzzle. He thought it would keep the boy busy for hours. Yet within minutes, the boy returned with the world perfectly restored. "How did you do it so fast?" the preacher asked. "It was easy," the boy said. "On the back of the picture of the world was the picture of a man. I just put the man together, and when the man was right, the world was right." Now let me stop you here, because this is your lesson for today. If the man is right, his world will be right. If you are right within, then your outer world will fall into order. Do you see how powerful that is? The change you crave in your circumstances begins with the change in your mind. When you choose PMA, you are choosing to put the man together, yourself. But let me challenge you with this. How many of these 17 principles are you actually living every day? Take a courageous look at yourself right now. Maybe you have faith, but you lack self-discipline. Maybe you have initiative, but you never budget your time. Maybe you are enthusiastic, but you refuse to learn from defeat. Here's the hard truth. Success demands a full orchestra, not a single note. PMA is the conductor, but the 17 principles are the instruments. Leave one out, and the music falters. So let me ask you, are you willing to examine yourself honestly and fearlessly and find out what you've been neglecting? Because if you are, then you've just stepped into the doorway of greatness. Let's break it down. Here are the 17 principles. 1. Positive mental attitude. 2. Definiteness of purpose. 3. Going the extra mile. 4. Accurate thinking. 5. Self-discipline. 6. The mastermind. 7. Applied faith. 8. A pleasing personality. 9. Personal initiative. 10. Enthusiasm. 11. Controlled attention. 12. Teamwork. 13. Learning from defeat. 14. Creative vision. 15. Budgeting time and money. 16. Maintaining sound, physical and mental health. 17. Using cosmic habit force, the universal law that shapes your destiny. Now don't let this overwhelm you, because you don't need to master all 17 today. But you do need to start with the first, and that is PMA. So let me hit you with a question that could change your life. If you have PMA and you don't succeed, then what? The answer is simple. You failed to combine PMA with the specific principles required for your goal. Success is like a recipe. Leave out one ingredient and the cake collapses. Now ask yourself, what ingredient have you been leaving out? Stay with me, because this is where transformation begins. You see, the world is full of people who blame their environment, their upbringing, or their lack of education for their failures. I never had a chance, they say. I was born poor. My father was an alcoholic. I only had a grammar school education. But my friend, those excuses are nothing more than poison. They are the whispers of NMA. And if you listen to them, they will chain you to the ground while your destiny waits above. The truth? It is not your circumstances that hold you down. It is your attitude about those circumstances. And let me remind you of something extraordinary. You already fought the greatest battle of your life and won before you were even born. Think about it. Out of millions of possibilities, you were the one who reached the prize. You began your journey as a champion. You inherited within yourself every ounce of potential you will ever need to rise above challenges. Victory is written into your very DNA. So why then would you ever accept defeat as permanent? Let this sink in. You were born to win, designed for greatness, and equipped with all the tools required to fulfill your destiny. Now I ask you again, will you choose PMA? Because the moment you do, you've already changed your world. Imagine for a moment that you stand at the edge of a vast field, one that stretches beyond the horizon. This field is your life. Within its soil lie countless seeds, some of success, some of failure. Which seeds will you water? Which will you allow to wither? The choice is yours, and the choice is always determined by your attitude. Positive mental attitude is the master key, but that key unlocks doors only if you learn how to use it. Now let us continue with the principles that will guide you into realms of achievement, so profound that others will call you fortunate, while you will know it was deliberate design. The fourth principle is going the extra mile. My friends, success is never found on the beaten path. It resides in the hidden corners where only those who walk further, give more, and serve beyond expectation can reach. When you go the extra mile, you create within others a sense of trust, admiration, and loyalty. More importantly, you create within yourself a reservoir of confidence that no hardship can drain. Remember this: the man who gives more than he is paid for will soon be paid for more than he gives. Let me share with you a secret known to every titan of industry. The person who over-delivers becomes indispensable. Employers cannot release him, customers cannot forget him, and partners cannot replace him. If you seek wealth, influence, or recognition, begin today by giving more than what is expected of you. The world rewards extravagantly those who practice generosity and service. The fifth principle is self-discipline. Without self-discipline, dreams are like a ship without a rudder, drifting aimlessly, vulnerable to every storm. Discipline is the bridge between intentions and results. It is not punishment, it is liberation. When you master your appetites, your time, and your thoughts, you become the master of your destiny. Think of the great leaders of history. Their triumphs were not accidents. They arose from discipline forged in the silence of sacrifice. Ask yourself, what small act of discipline, performed daily, would multiply your progress 100-fold within a year? The answer to that question could transform your entire life. Next, we arrive at the principle of personal initiative. Opportunity does not knock. It waits for the man who builds his own door. Initiative separates the mediocre from the mighty. It is the act of seeing what needs to be done and doing it without waiting for permission. The individual who acts with initiative creates momentum, and momentum is the invisible force that carries him to heights he never thought possible. Picture this: while the crowd hesitates, one man steps forward. While others seek guarantees, he seizes possibilities. Initiative is that first, bold step into the unknown that transforms dreams into realities. History bows to the men and women who dared to act while others waited. Will you be counted among them? Now consider the principle of enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is the sparkle in your eye, the swing in your gait, the grip of your handshake, and the irresistible magnetism that draws people to your cause. It cannot be faked, for it springs from genuine belief. Enthusiasm is contagious. When you possess it, you ignite it in others. With enthusiasm, small efforts produce great results, and without it, even the greatest plans wither. Ask yourself, are you living with passion or merely existing with routine? The answer determines not only your future but the future of everyone who crosses your path. Another mighty principle is controlled attention. In this world of endless distraction, the man who can focus his mind is the man who commands his destiny. Controlled attention is the ability to direct your thoughts and energy toward one chief aim, without scattering your strength across 1,000 trivialities. Consider a magnifying glass. Under the broad light of the sun, it does nothing, but when that light is concentrated, it sets fire to whatever it touches. Your mind works the same way. Scatter it, and it achieves nothing. Concentrate it, and it can ignite a revolution in your life. Controlled attention is not merely about working harder. It is about working with deliberate intention. Ask yourself now, what is my major definite purpose? If you cannot answer, your attention is wasted. If you can answer, then focus all your energies until that purpose becomes reality. Let us turn now to the principle of learning from adversity and defeat. Defeat is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. Each failure carries within it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. But only the man with a positive mental attitude can recognize this seed. The world has never known a single great man who was not tested, broken, and forced to rise again stronger than before. Consider Thomas Edison, who failed thousands of times before producing the electric light. Each failure was not an end, but a stepping stone. When you face adversity, do not curse it. Ask instead, what lesson does this contain? What strength is it building within me? Defeat is temporary. Quitting is permanent. As long as you rise one more time than you fall, you are destined to win. Now comes the principle of creative vision. Vision is the art of seeing the invisible. It is the ability to hold in your mind an image of the future so vivid that it demands to be made real. Visionaries are the architects of progress, the dreamers who shape destiny. Without vision, a man is blind to opportunity even when it stands before him. With vision, he creates opportunities where none existed. Creative vision allows you to transcend the ordinary and build something extraordinary. It is the blueprint of every innovation, the foundation of every empire, and the spark of every movement. Dare to dream, but dream with precision. Write your vision, speak your vision, and above all, act upon your vision until it manifests. Finally, let us touch upon the principle of health. A man may possess riches, power, and influence, but without health, he is poor indeed. Your body is the vessel through which your mind must operate. Neglect it, and your ambitions collapse with it. Success demands energy, clarity, and vitality. To maintain these, you must guard your health as jealously as you guard your fortune. Proper nutrition, sufficient rest, regular exercise, and mastery of your emotions are not luxuries. They are necessities. When you care for your body, you fortify your mind. When you fortify your mind, you elevate your life. Remember this eternal truth. The mind and body are partners, and one cannot thrive without the other. My friends, as we conclude this segment, I remind you that these principles are not theories. They are laws of life as real as gravity. Ignore them, and you drift. Master them, and you soar. The question that echoes in your mind right now is simple. Will you embrace these principles and transform your world, or will you let them pass by like whispers on the wind? The choice, as always, is yours. My friends, understand this. The principles I have laid before you are not lifeless theories written on paper. They are living forces waiting to shape your life. But these forces obey only the man who dares to act with persistence. You cannot apply them once and expect miracles. You must live them, breathe them, and make them habits so deep that they become part of your very nature. Do you recall the story of the minister and his son, who rebuilt the map of the world by first assembling the picture of a man? That story holds a secret for you. If you are right within yourself, your world will be right. But here is the danger. Most men spend their days trying to rearrange the world while leaving themselves untouched. They try to fix circumstances, people, and events, yet they remain broken inside. The result is always frustration. But the man who first masters himself gains power over his circumstances. This is why self-mastery lies at the heart of every success principle. Now let us speak of persistence. Persistence is to success what oxygen is to life. It is the refusal to quit, the decision to rise each time you fall, the determination to press forward when everything in you screams to turn back. Many people possess talent, knowledge, or even vision, but they lack persistence. They try once, they fail, and they stop. But the man who persists cannot be defeated. He may be delayed, he may be tested, he may be battered, but in the end he triumphs, because he simply refuses to quit. Think of this. History does not remember those who gave up. It remembers those who pressed forward despite rejection, humiliation, and hardship. Edison persisted thousands of times to invent the light bulb. Ford persisted despite ridicule to create an automobile for the common man. Each of these giants shared one thing in common. They would not stop. Ask yourself now, do I have persistence or do I have excuses? The answer to that question reveals the truth about your future. Another great truth lies in the principle of the mastermind. Alone, a man is limited. Together, with minds joined in harmony, there is no limit. The mastermind is the alliance of two or more people who coordinate their knowledge, energy, and faith in the pursuit of a definite goal. When two minds come together in harmony, a third invisible force is created, a greater intelligence that neither person alone could access. This is why every successful man has surrounded himself with allies. No empire is built alone. No invention is perfected in isolation. And no destiny is fulfilled without the mastermind principle at work. Pause for a moment and consider. Who are the allies in your life? Who shares your vision? Who strengthens your courage when doubts whisper in your ear? If you lack such allies, then make it your task to find them. For without the mastermind, your journey will be longer, harder, and lonelier. But with it, mountains will shrink before you. Let us revisit enthusiasm for a moment. Enthusiasm is not just a smile or a burst of energy. It is the living fire that makes people believe in your dream. When you speak with enthusiasm, you awaken enthusiasm in others. And when you combine enthusiasm with persistence, you create a force that no obstacle can resist. The timid voice of doubt cannot survive in the presence of a burning spirit. But beware, your enthusiasm must be genuine. False enthusiasm is easily detected, and it destroys trust. True enthusiasm comes only when you believe in the worth of your cause. If you lack enthusiasm, it is not your personality that is weak, it is your belief that is shallow. Strengthen your belief, and enthusiasm will rise naturally. Now I must remind you of one final but supreme truth. All of these principles, all of these laws, are powerless without one thing: applied. Faith. Faith is the vision of the unseen, the certainty of the yet-to-be, the unwavering belief that what you seek is already waiting for you. Without faith, the principles remain mere words. With faith, they become weapons, shields, and treasures in your hand. Faith is not blind hope. It is active, living confidence. It demands that you act as though your goal is already secured, that you persist when evidence is lacking, and that you maintain courage when the night is darkest. Faith is the torch that guides you through uncertainty. And when you apply faith, you invite forces far greater than yourself to cooperate in your success. Let me tell you something powerful. You were born a winner. Before you took your first breath, you won the greatest battle of all. Out of millions, you were the one who succeeded in reaching the beginning of life. Victory is in your blood. Achievement is in your nature. And greatness is your inheritance. Every obstacle you face is smaller than the one you already conquered to exist. Remember this truth the next time doubt creeps into your mind. You were not born to fail. You were born to win. Yet how many men live as though they were born to lose? They surrender their dreams. They complain about their circumstances. And they blame the world for their failures. They forget the victory that lies within them. They forget the champion they once were. But you listening to my words right now, you must not forget. You must awaken that champion within you and command it to rise. As I close this segment, let me leave you with a challenge that will test your courage and determine your destiny. Tonight, before you sleep, take one sheet of paper. On one side, write down the principles you have been neglecting. On the other, write the actions you will begin tomorrow to apply them. This is no idle exercise. This is the turning point between mediocrity and greatness. Will you do it? Or will you listen, nod, and return to the habits that keep you chained? The choice is yours. But remember, if you change yourself, you change your world. And if you change your world, you can, in time, change the world of countless others. This is the promise of a positive mental attitude. This is the destiny awaiting the man who dares to live by the principles of success. So now I ask you, will you be that man?